All righty. You are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Green Bay Packers. And why are the Green Bay Packers 0-16? Because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Man, that never gets old. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening. Buddy Randy's here. Hold on. Let me move the chair. For my buddy Randy here. Hold on, buddy. There he is. All right, Randy's here. Okay, we can continue. Anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away. Throw it in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like 5 to 10 minutes or so. So if anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away. Plus, also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free and fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. The second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you're subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed, thank you. And then finally, also a little farther down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a minute. The one just underneath it, it's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter. It's Twitter today. It'll be Twitter tomorrow. It'll be Twitter 700 trillion years from now. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on him. I'm not calling it. It's Twitter, okay? I usually try to put some stuff in there on my Twitter account every day, Giants related, of course. If you follow me on Twitter, I will follow you back. That's a promise. And then also the link just above it. It's a Facebook link. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's a group. We have over 7,200 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and if I'm breathing, if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group every day, darn near 365. I mean, every day I'm putting a boatload of stuff in there every day. And not only am I put stuff in there, but members as well put stuff in there as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day, right? So between, I said me and the members, please become a member. I said we have over 7,200 members. It's doing phenomenal. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's a Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied, I promise. All right, with all that stuff said and done and out of the way with, all righty. Well, I've seen I think the Giants have so you tell me not a chance, huh? I got less than 1% chance. There's like the teams up here. There's the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Lions. Don't forget about them, and the 49ers. And then there's everybody else. There's nothing in the middle. It used to be the Seahawks. Right, it used to be, like the Lions, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Eagles, and then, the Seahawks. And then there's the top 4. So what do we got? 16. So there's the top 4, and then there's nothing on the screen right here. The top 4 are up here. You can't see them, and the other 12 are off the screen down here. There's nothing in the middle. There's no mediocrity. You're the top 4 or you suck. You're either first or your last, as Ricky Bobby would say, right? It's just absolute atrocious. Absolute atrocious. They should really just just start the playoffs now. Unfortunately, I mean, we go back to like 1970, how it was, right? We had 3 divisions. We had 1 wild card team. 4 teams made the playoffs. 4 teams each division. We had the 8. 8 went down to 4. 4 now went down to 2. You battled it out. And the Super Bowl and all that stuff and everything. That's just, I mean, in the NFC, that's the way it is. I mean, we should just really just have it. The Eagles, the 49ers, the Lions, and the Cowboys are a wild card team. I'm not sure how I would work it out and all that, everything, but basically that's the way it is. I mean, it's just trash, really. I mean, let's see here. NFC standings. I mean, this is just okay. Here we go. It just let's see in it. National League. There we go. Okay. So, I mean, the Giants are 4-8. The Commanders are 4-8. The Seahawks, I mean, they are plummeting. They were in first place at one point in time. I think they were 5-2 at one point in time. Because they were 5-2. I think they were actually in first place because the 49ers had lost like 3 games in a row. I think Trent Williams was out, McCaffrey was out. They stumbled along for 3 games. They had lost 3 games in a row. It was like, well, oh my God, what happened to the 49ers? And all, well, they seem like they're back on track. And I'm very happy for it. And I hope they stay on the track because they're the only team. I mean, the Lions got a chance still. I think the Lions have a chance. But I mean, the 49ers are the real the team in the NFC that has a chance to knock off the Cowboys and the Eagles. And that's all I'm hoping for. That's all I'm basically I have to live for this rest of the season. Right? Who can knock off the Eagles and the Cowboys to get to the Super Bowl so those 2 teams don't make it? Right? So we got the Lions and we got the 49ers, but the 49ers are the upper echelon. Now this game this weekend is going to be huge. I mean, this could possibly be the championship game, the NFC championship game. Still got some games left to go. Weeks to go. There's of course injuries, like as we saw last season, especially in the NFC championship game. Injuries might still have a lot to say about who goes to the Super Bowl, who stays home, and all of that. So we still got a ways to go. But, I mean, this weekend, this game coming up with the Eagles and the 49ers is going to be huge, absolutely huge. It's not end-all, be-all. I mean, we also look at, like, the 49ers when they demolished the Cowboys many weeks ago. The Cowboys have certainly seemed to rebound a little bit. But, I mean, the Cowboys are seeming like also maybe a little bit of a different team at home. They are on the road. But the 49ers are certainly the cream of the crop, and the Eagles and So I mean, if this game here is going to be huge. Now, if we look at it here, okay, the Cowboys got 3 losses, the 49ers have 3 losses, the Eagles have 1. Now, picture this, riddle me this, Batman, okay? This weekend, right, head-to-head, Eagles, 49ers. If the 49ers win, right, 49ers got 3 losses, Cowboys got 3 losses, Eagles have 2 losses. I think it's the following week. The Eagles travel, play the Cowboys, right, head-to-head. I'd have a hard time seeing the Cowboys losing, but, hey, anything's possible. But if the Cowboys were to win that one, right, quite possibly the 49ers have 3 losses, the Cowboys have 3 losses, the Eagles have 3 losses with a couple weeks left to go, right? Could be very, very interesting as far as because then you got the Cowboys and the Eagles. Who's going to win the division? I mean, the team really, whoever it would be huge having a home field advantage, right? Going into the playoffs, it would be huge. Absolutely. And then that too, as far as like maybe who would have the bye, right? I would have to think if this is a long way to go, a long way. Once again, tons of things can happen. But I'm saying if they all wind up with 3 losses, I would have to think that the 49ers would have the bye because they would beat the Cowboys and the Eagles. I'm just once again, if that were to happen, I would kind of think they would have a bye, but it is what it is. But once again, we're a long way away. But I mean, but if you just look at it, I mean, this is just like trash. I mean, said the Seahawks gave it, a good I didn't watch the game. I can't stand watching the Cowboys. If the Cowboys are losing, I'll watch the game. I will not waste 1 second of my life watching the Cowboy. I mean, my son and I go to a Cowboy game every year. The Cowboys are his team. We try to do. We've been doing it. When are we doing it? 2017 was it? I guess somewhere around there. Or was it 2018? Maybe it was 2018. I think 2018. We started this thing. We start. My son's. It's kind of like his Christmas / birthday present. We go to a Cowboy game on the road, and we try to see a different team each season on the road. So we're trying to see every stadium. Okay, we saw the Raiders. It was like the last time the Cowboys ever played in Oakland against the Raiders. Then we saw Tom Brady. Actually, it was pretty interesting. We saw the Cowboys play in New England. It was a pouring rainstorm. So we saw Tom Brady. In 2019, 2020, we were actually going to go and see the first game ever against in the Los Angeles, the Rams / Chargers new stadium, except that was 2020. There was no fans in the stands, right? So we were going to go to that one, but so 2020 got eliminated because of that. So what happens in 2021, we actually wound up going and seeing the Buccaneers, and who's the quarterback? Tom Brady. So we actually saw back-to-back games, Cowboys on the road against Tom Brady. Then 2022, we saw we went to Lambeau Field against Aaron Rodgers. So we saw Derek Carr. Well, I mean, the one against the Raiders was a good game. Then we saw Brady, and then we saw Aaron Rodgers. So this season we're going to Miami. Okay. So if the Cowboys win, they win, but it is what it is. But I mean, I'm not going to, so that's me and my son, every time we go, it's always a good game. The Cowboys, regardless of the Cowboys win or lose, it always seems like it's a good, close game, right? And I said, it's me and my son's time. We bond, we spend time together. It's a lot for him because, he's a Cowboy fan. Plus also for me, I see a good game. I enjoy myself. It's a new venue every time we go. So it's always something different. Next year, we're going to probably either go to Cleveland or Pittsburgh. They're playing Atlanta, or is it Carolina too? Maybe Carolina. So we're going to probably go to one of those. We could probably drive to Cleveland or Pittsburgh from here, so we don't have to fly or anything like that. But I said, like each year we usually see, we try to see a Cowboy game on the road. But I said, as far as me sitting down watching TV, I'm not going to watch a Cowboy. I won't watch the Cowboys. I won't watch the Eagles either. Will not. My life depends upon it. Jeff, you got a terminal illness, right? You have 3 hours to live, right? If you sit here and watch the Eagles win this football game, you live. If not, you die. I just pull the plug on me, Doc. I'm not watching the game. I will not will not watch the Eagles. And it said the Eagles are losing. If I may checking on my phone or something like that or whatever, and I see the Eagles are losing, holy cow, I'm all in, baby. But I will not watch the Eagles win. Absolutely not. Will not. Same thing with the Cowboys. So, but I mean, if the Seahawks gave a good, it showed that a good offense can go in there. Because I mean, once again, after the Cowboys beat the Seahawks last night, the Seahawks fell to 6-6. So now the Seahawks don't have a winning record. So still as basic. I mean, the time of the game, the Seahawks had a winning record, but the Seahawks, I think, lost like 3 of the last 4 or whatever it was or something like that. So now after the game's over, the Cowboys still basically have not beaten a team with a winning record. Okay. But, the Seahawks, showed some spunk. Of course, their defense is just I don't even have words for it. Just couldn't stop. The Cowboys just walked up, and the Cowboys had like 812 first downs. I mean, it was just the Cowboys didn't punt, I don't think, all night. Just couldn't stop them. Couldn't absolutely. And poor Leonard Williams. We give Leonard Williams, traded him, get a second round pick, and the Seahawks defense trash, right? Absolute trash. So I mean, they gave a good run for the money, but I mean, I said you look at it, I mean, we got like the Giants are 4-8, the Commanders are 4-8, the Seahawks just fell to 7. There's no other team with a winning record, no other team with a winning record, right? Other than those top 4. Seahawks are 6-6. The Rams are 5-6. The Cardinals are 2-10. I said they got the Lions, but the Vikings are 6-6. The Packers are 5-6. I mean, the Vikings are 6-6, and they lost their starting quarterback. Right. Packers are 5-6. Bears are 4-8, and then the NFC South, there's nobody with a winning record. Right. We got the Falcons are 5-6. The Saints are 5-6. The Buccaneers are 4-7, and the Panthers are 1-10. Just straight up trash. You got the top 4. And you got the bottom 8 or whatever, the bottom 12. I'm sorry. Absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. So, I mean, if you look at it right now, right? Excuse me. The Vikings are 6-6. The Seahawks are 6-6, and the Cowboys are, what was it, 9-3 now after they win. Yeah. So those are the two. Those are the three teams that they're in the for the wild card. So the Giants are 4-8. So the Giants are basically 2 games out. The thing is that if they're chasing the Seahawks, they're actually 3 games out because the Seahawks got the head-to-head on the Giants. But I mean, if you look at if the Seahawks are slipping, the Vikings that they lost their starting quarterback, right? So they're I mean, excuse me here. What? Let's see the Vikings here. What do we got here? Let's see now here. The Vikings, let's see. They lost 12-10 to the Bears, right? And they lost 21-20 to the Broncos. I mean, they got to play the Raiders on the road. Won't be easy. They got to play the Bengals on the road. They have to play the Lions at home. Got to play the the Packers at home. That won't be easy. And then, so actually, it's the same thing here with the Giants. Giants 2 of their final 3 against the Eagles. Vikings 2 of their final 3 against the Lions. And the Lions, might be battling for playoff positioning, shall we say. So those games are going to be huge. So the Vikings could easily lose 4 out of their final 5 games. Easily. Right? And so, I mean, if they would lose, just say, without a starting quarterback, if they lose 4 out of 5, what would it be? 7-10, right? If the Giants, once again, go 3-2, it's possible. They would be 7-10. I'm not sure who would have the head-to-head. That I don't know, right? Just a lot of I mean, somebody in the NFC South, unfortunately, is going to have to wind up winning the division. But I mean, the Saints are 5. The Giants are playing the Saints, so the Giants can actually, if for some reason they could go into New Orleans and beat the Saints, they would actually, have as many wins as the Saints. Right? I mean, because they're only 1 game back, and they would have the head-to-head with the Saints. Then they're playing the Rams, who are 5-6. If they went in and they played the Rams and they beat the Rams, they both had the same amount of wins. And the Giants would have the head-to-head on them as well, too. Then you look at the Packers, who have 5 wins. If the Giants were to beat the Packers on Monday night, they would have the same amount of wins that the Packers would be. The Packers got to play this weekend. The Giants don't. But, I mean, the Giants have 4 wins. The Packers have 5. So as of right now, they're only 1 game behind, 1 win behind the Packers. But, I mean, if they were to beat the Packers, they could possibly maybe catch the Packers. And they would have the head-to-head on the Packers as well, too. I mean, you can forget about the Bears. I don't really see them going. The Commanders look like they're reeling. Forget about the Panthers, right? So, I mean, but of course, the thing is that now you're asking for the Giants all of a sudden to start winning. They have to really win 3 out of the last 5, and hope that all the other teams just really stink. Really, I mean, the Seahawks would have to maybe come crashing down. The Vikings would have to come crashing down. The Giants would have to win all these games. All these none of the other teams could get hot. So you're asking for, quite a bit here, quite a bit. So it's still rather unrealistic that the Giants are going to make the playoffs. But they got here this from the New York Post. The Giants would still be in a playoff hunt without some few costly gaffes, as they say here, and some injuries. Right. Oh, let's see. We've come to learn now as the Giants season has unfolded in a series of disappointing results. Their 2022 success was a bit of a mirage, a ride powered by good coaching, good health, and some good breaks. The Giants went, if you look at it, it's a good health to key players. Now, that's the important thing here, okay, to key players. I was not this season. I did not get a subscription to mangameslost.com. That was like $50-$60. Well worth it. I mean, if you're into that stuff, because actually their stats go back to like 2007 or somewhere around there. It goes back quite a few years. So, I mean, if you're interested in that stuff, and I found that stuff rather fascinating, I did some videos last season on this, how the Giants, their injury histories, which will lead me into my next thing. Okay. It's just unbelievably pathetic. I mean, how the Giants, I think, are the worst team over the past 10, 11 years. If you go back to 2011 or 2012, the Giants lead the league in injury. Man games lost. Right, due to injuries. But last year, it said in this article, the Giants, due to some health, some lucky health last year. Well, they had a lot of their better players were healthy, okay? They were the sixth most injured team last season, according to mangameslost.com. They lost the sixth most man games due to injury last season, okay? Which is one of the, but I mean, a lot of it was also, like a lot of their big gun. Leonard Williams lost a few games because of his neck, but Sexy Dexy was healthy, right? Andrew Thomas was healthy, and Saquon, right? I mean, Daniel Jones was healthy, so we had some, a lot of our key guys were somewhat healthy. Xavier McKinney was healthy, so quite a few of our guys we lost some guys, but a lot of them were maybe backups or guys that maybe weren't quite as prominent, shall we say, right? But but it's in the article, it says they had some lucky, but they were still injured. The Giants were still injured. Okay. Let's see here. The Giants, despite going 9-7-1, playoff berth, and a first postseason victory since 2011, clearly were not as good as the results may have suggested. They were ahead of the schedule. Head coach Brian Daboll and general manager Joe Schoen had set up when they hired before the season to rebuild the team. Sometimes what goes around comes around. And this season, which is on pause this week with the team's bye week, has been the polar opposite to 2023. These Giants 4-8, despite the 2-game winning streak they took into the bye week, are not as bad as the results would indicate. You may not want to hear this, but it's a fact. They are a couple of gaffes in 2 games away from being 6-6 right now, and with all these injuries, being 6-6. As unbelievable as that is, with a third-string quarterback, right? Which would be a remarkable feat considering the injuries they've endured. Had backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor not audible from a pass play to a run play that failed from the Bills' 1-yard line at the end of the first half in Buffalo with no timeouts, the Giants kick a field goal and go up 9-0 and probably upset the Bills. Well, why? Because they kicked 3 points, right? I don't know. I mean, if you're doing that, it's all or nothing. If you run the ball and you don't make it, you get no points, right? Yeah. So it's like, so you kick 3 points there. When they get down to the end of the game, right? They run down as much time as they possibly can. They're down at the 1 yard. They kick a field goal. So that's 6 extra points. The Giants win that football game, right? One call to go from a pass play to a run play that runs the clock. I mean, if there was an extra 20 seconds on the clock, you can do it, right? Because maybe you can run the team onto the field, kick the field goal as time's running out, whatever. But I mean, at that point in time, the call with the amount of time on there and the no timeouts. If you don't make it, you get no points. Stupid, really stupid. Let's see here. And of course, not only that, there's that, they call it a gaff, right? GAFFA, but there's also the hold, or whatever you want to call it, interference hold on Darren Waller, where the guy's blatantly, his jersey's being pulled as the pass sails over his head. The Giants would get a first down, first and goal at the 1 yard line, right? Maybe they punch it in there and they win that way. I mean, so bad breaks and a stupid call. Stupid call. Let's see here. Head kicker Graham Gano made the 35-yard field goal to give the Giants a 6-point lead with 28 seconds remaining in the game, and the Jets with no timeouts. The Giants likely don't lose 13-10 in overtime because the Jets would have to travel the length of the field and score a touchdown to win the game, not kick a field goal, right? And you can look at it. I mean, of course, it's like the people, everybody and their grandma. Let's see here. Let me go back here. Where are we at here? I do forgot how far the field goal was. No, where are we? Here we go. Let's see. Okay. Does it show the box score here? There we go. All right. So what was it here? Kicked the 31-yard field goal. Okay. So Graham Gano kicked the 31-yard field goal in that Jet game. He also kicked an extra point, which is 30-something yards long. Okay. The field goal he missed was like a 35-yarder. So basically he made two kicks in the 30-yard range. Right. It's 30-something yards. It's not far at all. Not far at all. Now, of course, the naysayers and the negative Nancys and the people in the media and all that stuff, they just want to absolutely, of course, drum up all kinds of problems. And we're kicking a field goal for the guy. Yeah. And I've heard a bunch of morons say that, the guy's compromised. He's stupid, and all that. Well, he made two kicks that far during the game, right? At 30-something yards, it's not very far. We're not asking him to drill a 58-yarder. Right, it was like a 35-yard field goal, right? So, under all the circumstances, and once again, after it was over, even if he missed it, which he did, the Jets which they had moved the ball pretty much all game long. We're going to have to go. I mean, what was it? What was it, like back-to-back 29-yard completions or whatever the heck it was, or something, whatever, to get in the field goal range. The Jets scored 7 points all game, right? They had no offense whatsoever. The Giants defense had them in check, really, really good. So for the chance for the Jets actually to go to 30, 35 yards or whatever it was, to get in the field goal range, to kick the field, to make the field goal, to send it in overtime, and then had to beat the Giants, you're asking a bit much. So to me, that was the right call. Keep the field goal. It's a short field goal. It's not 50-something yard. He made two kicks in the 30-yard range during the game. He can make another one, right? Make that, and then the game's pretty much over. And even if he does miss it, which he did, all right, there's the possibility that the Jets don't, they complete those, or they get the two chunk plays or whatever, which was like somewhat of a small miracle, right? Because they hadn't done pretty much anything all day. So they asked them to get those, was asking for a miracle. So to me, that's the right play. Right. But, as I said, once again, if he wasn't in, or if it's one of those things, woulda, coulda, shoulda, whatever. I mean, if he was injured, or he was, somewhat injured or somewhat compromised going into the game, maybe why didn't we bring in another kicker who can make 30-yard field goals, right? But once again, if it wasn't his season with the injuries, if Graham Gano wasn't injured, he makes the field goals, Giants win the game, So it's just absolute horrible season, all around. Let's see here. If the Giants win those 2 games, they're currently being contention for a wild card berth. Absolutely. I mean, they'd be in a wild card berth right now. They'd be the 3rd team. You got the Seahawks 6-6. The Giants would be 6-6. Vikings are 6-6. The Giants are in a wild card. With a 3rd string quarterback, all the injuries the Giants have, right? We lost our starting quarterback 2 times. We lost our backup quarterback 1 time. Then we got a 3rd string quarterback in there. All these freaking injuries, the Giants would be in the playoffs right now. I know the Eagles wouldn't be 10-1 if they had their 3rd string quarterback in there. If they had all the Giants injuries, especially the offensive line, the Eagles, as lucky as they get every freaking game, just barely winning every football game, as lucky as they are, because either they just squeak out a win or they get the refs to beat them, to beat the other team, right? The Eagles would not be 10-1. The Eagles would have many losses. The Cowboys had on their 3rd string quarterback. All the injuries to their offensive line and this, that, and the other, they would not be whatever they are, 9-3. Absolutely not. They might be 6-6 as well, though, right? Let's see here. And of course, this is what Joe Shane went over, right? They're currently being contention for a wild-card berth while playing with their 3rd string quarterback and having played 9 different offensive starting lineups and 21 different combinations in 12 offensive line combinations in 12 games. Just 12 games, right? Of course, you don't hear that about the Eagles, right? I mean, they run their guys out onto the field. After 60 minutes, they all run off to the field. Everybody's nice and healthy and all. Oh, my God, the Eagles. Oh, my God, it's so great. Oh, my God. The greatest team of all time, again. Well, they have no injuries. It's amazing if you have no injuries, for the most part. Everybody's just hunky-dory and they're all singing Kumbaya and holding hands and everything like that and dancing the Macarena and everybody's happy and healthy. It's amazing how well your record can be, right? There's a very lucky, very, very lucky. The same thing with the Cowboys, rather lucky, with the lack of injuries that they've had, But, I said the Giants would certainly be right there. Given the rash of injuries that have sabotaged their quarterback situation and offensive line, they have had little chance to remain in contention and duplicate their 2023 success. Daniel Jones, after missing 3 games with a neck injury, was lost for the season with his torn ACL with 8 games remaining in the season. Then Tyrod Taylor, the veteran backup, suffered a rib cage injury in week 8. Now, he could possibly come back after the bye week here and possibly, now we'll have to wait and see, be the starting quarterback against the Packers. Now we'll have to wait and see. Do the Giants want to go with the hot, if you want to call it, hand with DeVito, or do they want to go with the backup Tyrod? Going to be interesting to see, right? Then, of course, undrafted rookie free agent Tommy DeVito played the past 4 games, starting the past 3 and winning the past 2. Let's see, with injuries to both starting tackles Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal. And, of course, John Michael Schmitz out for 3 games due to injury. The Giants have struggled mightily to find any continuity in the offensive line. There have been some lopsided results, especially against really good teams. We're just not even in the ballpark with some of the good teams. The lopsided losses have angered some Giants fans, and understandably so. But when you take a deeper dive into the past 2 seasons and look at the Giants' losses, you'll find that for the most part, they've struggled against good teams. Yes. Of the 16 games they've lost under the coach, under the watch of Dable and Shane, 9 of them have come against the Eagles, Cowboys, and Seahawks, all 2022 playoff teams. And then let's not forget the one this year against the 49ers, too. Let's not forget about that. Philadelphia, which has defeated the Giants 3 times, finished 14-3 last season and was in the Super Bowl. The Eagles, whom the Giants love to play twice in the final 5 games, so let's not forget about that, have the best record in the NFL. Dallas finished 12-5 last season. The Seahawks were 9-8 in 2022 and went to the playoffs. And this season, after the loss, now they're 6-6. But the Giants this season have lost twice to the Cowboys, once to the 49ers and Dolphins, right? Who are all 8-3, right? So they've lost to some. But the thing is, it's embarrassing. They lost Thursday, but they've just been like totally outclassed in those games. Shane said, we've had some injuries. We just got to continue to build the depth, and we've got to continue to build the team all around. So when injuries do occur, we can overcome those and still be competitive when injuries happen. It just takes time. It takes a couple of off seasons. So, you got to give him a little bit of time here. It says it takes a few drafts to build it the right way. Trust me, it hurts when you lose and you're 4-8 and it's not fun, but you don't want to lose sight of the bigger picture and the proper way to build a roster. And that's what we've got to stay focused on. So we got here. When things are going great in 2022, it's often never as great as it seems. And when things are bad as it are right now, things are not as bad as it seems, which is the exact truth. So I mean, without question, you have to give Chain. Another draft here. I saw that I think right now with the Seahawks loss, I think their second round pick is pick number 52. So the Giants would, they have 3 picks in the top 52, and then you can also look at it too. They might have 4 picks in the top 75 or so. Okay, so you got 4 picks in the top 75. You can do some damage with that. Especially the top 50. That should be almost maybe 3 plug and play players, or if not, out of those 3, you should have 1 or 2 plug and play players, and then you should have the other one should be a big time contributor, and that third round pick, should be a big time contributor as well too. You number 75 in the draft, you should definitely. It could be a guard. You look at all the possibilities. Like a good third round pick could be, a tight end, a safety. Definitely some good contributing players you can get out of a wide receiver in the third round. I said a nice tight end. Especially if you're looking to move on from Waller somewhere along the line, a nice, decent tight end. You're not going to get a Kelsey or somebody like that, probably. But, a contributing tight end. You can get maybe a really good blocking tight end or something like that. I said you can get a guard. Heck, you can get yourself a really good running back. If you want to move on from Breida and Brightwell and Corbin and all that, if you whatever. Hey, I don't know. Things fall through with Saquon because you figure the draft, right, is after the free agency. So you're going to know probably by then whether if you're going to franchise tag Saquon, do you have him from another year or so, whatever? Is he happy? Does he move on? Whatever, if they don't franchise tag him and he goes someplace else or whatever, you can get yourself a really good running back in the third round without, so somebody, so then you can have maybe Saquon, right? You have a third round pick, good running back, and Gray. That would be a nice threesome right there. Said a good wide receiver, another good tight end. You can get a guard. You can get yourself, somebody in the second, maybe a somewhat nice safety, especially whether you want to move on from McKinney or not, or regardless, you can get yourself some good depth on the defensive line. You're not going to probably not going to find a sexy Dexy or something like that, but somebody gives you some good depth maybe even a starter. You can find somebody who's probably better than Jordan Riley or Davidson, right? You got Nacho. You may not. I don't know if you're going to bring Ashawn Robinson back or not. That I'm not sure. But you can find yourself a decent depth guy or somebody you can put on a defensive line and be somewhat adequate. You can probably find yourself a somewhat nice depth piece at edge rusher. We need depth at edge. We need that. You're moving on from Adoree Jackson, right? You can find, hey, we found Aaron Robinson in the third round. Now, once again, hey, if Aaron Robinson can actually one of these days actually stay healthy, wouldn't that be a freaking miracle, right? But you can find yourself a decent cornerback. Heck, you can find yourself a decent safety. If whether you sign McKinney or not, who knows, right? But even if you do sign McKinney, right, you might have Pinnock, you might have McKinney. I don't know, if you're going to keep any of these other guys or not. But, you can find yourself a decent safety in the third round. You can find yourself a decent linebacker in the third round. So third round, it's huge. And same thing, you don't want to be – it's like with boom, the X-Man. You don't want to be missing on him. His first year was good. He just – whatever it was, he could not build upon it. It is what it is. Now, that doesn't mean he'll never be back. He might be back. Who knows? But as far as, being a big-time contributor, he's just not – it's just not happening. Just not happening. But, the third round, if you get somebody pick 75, they have to. That would be huge. You don't want to miss on pick 75. Absolutely not. So I mean, that third round pick could be huge, really, really huge, right? So I'm saying you got to give, we have some money. We can probably bring in, I don't know. As I said, let some guys go. Right? Are we bringing Saquon back? And we only got so much money. We got to sign the draft class, right? There's a bunch of guys are going to be going. We could probably, if we let some guys go, obviously we can bring a guy or two in, but we can't be. It's not going to be like, well, we can bring in we can sign a guard for $19 million a year. If we let McKinney go, we'll sign another good safety for $15 million a year. We're going to go out and sign ourselves a dog wide receiver. We're going to get the number one wide receiver for $29 million a year. We got that going. We lost Leo on the line, but we're going to sign like the next coming of Aaron Donald to be right next to Dexter Lawrence. That's $29 million a year. We got that too. Who else we got? That's not happening. That's not happening, guys. We don't have that much money, right? So you're going to have to give them some time. You're going to have to give them, obviously, next season will be huge. And then you want to see some improvement, and then hopefully two more seasons. I would think, because that way they can kind of filter out who they want, who they don't want. You give them 2 more drafts. You give them like another 14 picks or so, right? To add to the roster, and then you add a few more free agents in there and see what we got, right? So I mean, it's a building process. Shane always wanted to say, compete while you're rebuilding. And, they competed last year. They're competing this year. It's just the football gods would not allow it with all these freaking injuries. It is what it is. Some of it was self-inflicted, right? But it is what it is. Then I saw this chart. Pretty interesting here. Interesting stuff here. Tommy DeVito, which is nice, among the NFL's best at hitting open receivers. There's a chart here. So the Giants have gone through a trying season on offense, especially after losing their top 2 quarterbacks. Their passing game initially took a major hit as they inserted undrafted rookie Tommy DeVito as their starter. But once he got his feet under him, DeVito has shown poise and has gone 2 straight games in his first and has won 2 straight games in his first 3 starts. DeVito has also shown some prowess as he is among the top quarterbacks in the NFL when it comes to accuracy and finding open receivers. He has thrown for more touchdowns, 7, than Jones and Taylor combined, who only have 4. The rookie seems to have gotten the message in this league that you don't need a big arm to make big plays. No. That is something the Giants have to consider this offseason when they determine which direction they're going to head in the quarterback position. Absolutely. This, as I said, this offseason this one's a boomer. This is huge, really, really huge. But I'm going to go over this chart in just a second. But he holds on to the ball a little too long. Now, obviously, some of that is as he gets more and more familiar with the offense, a little more and more comfortable and all of that, and he's able to go through all his progressions, will he be able to get a little faster at making a decision? Okay, whatever, 1001, 1002, 1000. Okay, let me throw the ball away. 1001, 1002. Oh, here's another wide receiver. 1002, 1000. But let me throw the ball away. Or is he going to be holding on to the ball too long? Then there's holding on to the ball. And then there's he's holding on to the ball, and instead of obviously keeping his eyes down the field, whatever. But then just instead of staying, does he start looking for ways to run? Right? If he's holding on to the ball instead of standing in a pocket or whatever, looking for just taking off. So will he get faster as time goes by? Because obviously you see some of these sacks are whatever you want. They're not on the offensive line. They're DeVito / coverage sacks. Either throw the ball away, take off, or whatever, right? But he's also not putting the ball in harm's way either, which is really, really good. He did have that one. He's had some bad passes, of course, but he had the one pick 6 in the preseason, But, he came back and, he's done a very, very good job. Very, very good job. But, I mean, if you look at this chart, I mean, obviously I can't share this chart with you. It's Giants Wire. It's on Giants Wire. And as I said, the name of the article is Tommy DeVito among NFL's best at hitting open receivers. Now, this chart goes to show you, if I expand on it a little bit, we got here. Bryce Young is really, really good. But the percentage of throws he's not in a very good situation. But because his percentage of throws to receivers who have separation, he does not have many. But when they do, his highly accurate rate is like 75%. I mean, he's the best by far, Bryce Young, when his receivers are open. He's just he needs better talent around him. Okay, but if you look at DeVito, he's like, if you look at it, the Giants receivers are getting some separation. His percentage of throws where receivers have open separation. The Giant, his throws to receivers who have open separation are probably around 40%. So 2 out of every passes he's thrown are to receivers that are in the NFL wide open. Okay, and he's got his highly accurate throw rate, I guess, whatever, it was about 61%, which is very good. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 guys that are better than him. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, right? He's almost Trevor Lawrence is like 1% ahead of him. CJ Stroud's like 1% ahead of him. Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, Sam Howell, Joe Burrow, Desmond Ridder, Herbert, Hurts, and Young are all better than him. But Tommy DeVito, his highly accurate rate, he's better than Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Tua Tagovailoa, Kirk Cousins, Kyler Murray, Geno Smith, Lamar Jackson, Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Brock Purdy, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott. So his highly accurate throw rate is not bad. It's pretty impressive. So he just has to, get more, a lot of it's going to, obviously is get more familiarity with the offense. The problem is he going to be afforded that? Especially when we come back and play the Packers, who's going to start? Right? You don't know. If they're putting Tyrod in there, if they do, okay, it is what it is. Then I'm not saying Tommy's going to regress, but he's not going to get better because you got to get those snaps. You got to get, the more, plays you got against different looks and all of that and everything, the better, and you can only get that from live bullets. You can't get that on the sideline with a clipboard writing down charting plays or drinking Kool-Aid or something. You can't get that. You can't get that in practice. A little bit in practice, but the live bullets is what's huge. And the more time he gets, gameplay he gets, the better he should get. Now, the problem, I'm saying once again, the thing, he's not going to totally regress. But, the more he does it, the better he gets. And if he can consistently keep getting those reps, that's going to be nothing but better. So it's going to be interesting to see these final 5 games. Who they putting in there? Tyrod or Danny? Oh, Danny. I keep calling him Tommy. Danny DeVito. I'm so used to saying Danny DeVito. Who are they putting in there? Tyrod or the 2 T's? Which one? Tyrod or Tommy? Who's going in there? Right. But it's just nice to see that Tommy, he is accurate. He just has something. It's a little that Daniel Jones kind of thing going on there. You need to make faster decisions. Can't hold on to the ball, but at least when he does let go of the ball, he's not putting it in harm's way. So, and the worst thing you can do, especially if you're a backup, 3rd string quarterback, whatever, is don't lose the game. If you lose, you lose, but don't you be the reason why it's lost. Well, the backup quarterback, we didn't throw 4 interceptions. Yeah, we lost 28-21. Of course, we threw 4 interceptions, so that, 3 of them took away scoring opportunities, and the other one was a pick 6 the other way. That's why we lost the game. Well, no. So, he's not losing the game. Then, then again, you can also say we're not, when we beat the Commanders and we beat the Patriots, whatever, we're especially when we beat the Patriots. We scored 10 points. We weren't walking up and down the field. I mean, we had like no offense whatsoever. It was really sad. Patriots have a good defense, but we had no offense. But once again, he gave us a chance to stay in the game, gave us a chance to win, which is huge. You start throwing all these interceptions, you can just forget about it, right? And he didn't do that. So be interesting to see, who the quarterback will be when they play Packers. And they're keeping it. They're keeping it on Monday night. Packers, Giants. 2 losing teams on Monday night. So it is what it is. I wonder what other games are. Let me see. Let me see if I can. Oh, boy. Just trying to see here. Standings, news, players, games here. Can we do games here? Seahawks. Oh, here we go. Week 13. All right. Okay. Week 14. Okay. Is that, yeah, all right. Giants, Packers. Okay, so we got, they got 2 Monday night games. Wow. There must be, maybe there's an Amazon Prime game or something. I was going to say, because the Eagle Cowboy game, well, that's a Sunday night game. But you got the Bills and the Chiefs. That would be a great Monday night game. See the Seahawks 49ers. That could possibly be a good game. The Lions and the Bears, maybe. Rams, Ravens. But it looks like there's 2 Monday night games. You got the Titans and the Dolphins, and you got the Packers and the Giants. I mean, that's just what I'm looking at right here. So it is what it is. But, I mean, it's just weird that you have 2 Monday night games, obviously 4 teams. 3 of them have losing records as of right now anyway. So it is what it is. But then his final thing I saw was Patty Trainer. Oh, sorry. I got to move my legs. My main man, Randy here, he's laying at my feet. When I stretch my legs out, just make sure I try not to kick him. Yeah, all he does is sleep. Oh, dog's life. But anyway, I saw this thing. Patty Trainer. I can't. Please forgive my stupidity. Patel, the guy's last name was. He was the Giants' strength and conditioning, and maybe nutritionist or something for the Giants. I think it was like 2016 to 2020. I know he was there with McAdoo and Shermer, and maybe he was there. I think he got let go before Judge, or he was there till 2020, maybe after. I'm not exactly sure, but he was there with the Giants. Seemed like for 4 or 5 seasons. But Patty Trainer on Locked On Giants, I always try to listen to her because she follows the Giants. She's in, asking the questions and all that stuff. So she's up to date on stuff, and she really dumbs stuff down. Some of these guys, I mean, it's like, you listen to some of these guys who obviously have a lot of good knowledge and all of that, but I mean, it's just something, I mean, it's like, I don't know. They just seem like, I don't know. I don't know. There's talking football, and then there's just like talking football where it's like, you're in that one class, the 5% of the people that know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Because it's the terminology they use and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, obviously they're very intelligent and all that stuff. But then there's also talking about it where 100% of your audience knows exactly what you're talking about. And some of these guys, they just, I just don't even bother listening to them. It's just annoying to listen to some of these guys talk. But Patty Trainer, she dumbs it down for people like me. Everything she says, I totally understand and all that stuff. And so I always follow her, and she's been following the Giants for a long time. Well, she had this interview on with this guy, Patel. I said, once again, I can't remember his first name, but Patel. And it was a 2-part interview. It was like almost like it was like she does a lot of the Locked On network. She has so many commercials during her break that she has to talk about all DoorDash and all these betting apps and stuff like that. She has to talk about. She does like at least four ads that she does in between, because I guess the Locked On network, she, does their ads and stuff like that. So, I mean, in between her ads and everything, she was talking to this guy for like 2 different shows. It was probably maybe, they were talking, maybe it was about 40 minutes or so altogether. It was a nice long, it was a 2-part thing. Great information, lots of juicy, nice information. And they were talking about the injuries, right? And I said, he was talking about, he was there, I think in 2016, the Giants, when they went to the playoffs, they were, that was a year where, Jerry Reese went to Gurley World and he went out and he spent some money. He brought in Snacks Harrison, the Jackrabbit, right? He brought in Olivier Vernon. So he went and spent some money on the defensive side. We won a lot of close games, a lot of slow scoring games, tight games and all that. Of course, that was the year we went to the boat trip. Odell Beckham was like, let's go on a boat trip. We don't have to worry about the Green Bay Packers. Let's go on the boat. Let's all party and stuff like that. And of course, we got our doors blown off by the Packers in the playoffs. But he was there for that season in 2016. They were relatively healthy. He also was talking, I think in 2018, I think we were relatively healthy with Shermer. Just that, the coaching was not very good and all that and everything. But so he was talking to Patty was talking to asking him about questions and stuff like that and all about like injuries and this and that. Is it, what can be done? Whose fault is it? The guy, obviously, really knowledgeable, right? And, so that's what it says on my thumbnail. It's like, the injuries, like, whose fault is it? Right? Is it the coach's fault? Is it the Giant? The way they train the guy, or the practice and all of that. Is it the Giants for maybe not having good training facilities or nutritionists and supplements and all that stuff? Is it the player's fault because they're responsible for their health as well too? Or is it the league's fault? Right? Well, it's everybody's fault. If you listen to this guy, realize that lots of good information. I didn't write really any notes down. I watched it 2 times, right? So I just trying to go off the memory. But he was talking about, as far as the players, right? It's on the player. A lot of it's on the players. It's like, you go to these guys and you say, especially a lot of the guys like in like the off season. Right, a lot of these guys don't stay, don't necessarily stay healthy or in training in football mode. Not many can stay in football mode, but train in the off season or train properly and stuff like that, or eat properly, sleep properly. We're not doing drugs. We're not smoking. We're not taking alcohol. We're getting plenty of liquid, proper, hydration, eating the proper food, getting the proper amount of sleep, not eating garbage and stuff like that. So a lot of it's on the players, a lot of it. Okay. Even during the regular season, right? The guys, they have to train a certain way. Do they come in and do all this, everything as far as lifting and all of that? Because, different positional groups, they lift different ways. Some guys, that maybe they lift, they need to be explosive. Other guys need to, work on their power and stuff like that and everything. So the training, it's not like, okay, everybody goes in there and they do some barbell curls and do a couple benches. They throw the squats on there. They do 8 or 9, 10 with the squats and they're out of there. Everybody does this. No, everybody's different, right? So, so a lot of it's on as I said, same thing. Are we going out partying? After practice is over, what are we doing? Are we hanging out with the guys, drinking a 6-pack, eating some pizza? Well, what's going on? Getting 4 hours of sleep when we should be getting 8, right? What are we doing here? Right? So a lot of it's on the players. Okay. Some of it's on the coaching, right? Now Campbell, right, the coach of the Lions, he said something along the lines. I don't remember. He was talking to his players, right, and he said, I would something along the lines like, guys, if we could just come in here and just do a couple of jogs and maybe do some push-ups and maybe throw a couple pass patterns and stuff like that, we can get out of here. Hey, if we could do that, I'm all for it. but he was saying I'd be doing a disservice to you. Okay, I would not be putting you in proper form, proper condition, or whatever to be ready for a grueling season. There's certain things we need to do to get your body, in proper best conditions we can to get ready for a football season. So there's certain things that need to be done. Okay. As I said, what the guy Patel was kind of talking about was, he's one of the problems he had was you come in and then you got like his first 2 seasons with McAdoo, right? And McAdoo obviously didn't last the whole 17 season, but 16, 17 for the most part was McAdoo. So you got the guys in there, and then you have the coaching staff, and you get kind of familiar with them and how they kind of do things, and he can kind of get his regimen down, and okay, he. As far as Patel, this guy, this doctor she was talking to, so I know we need to do this because this is how the coaching staff practices, and do we practice the same day same time every day? Do we do this? What do we? So it gets so you can kind of get a little routine down. But then one of the problems is that after 2 seasons, he's gone. Then Shermer comes in. Now he has a whole new bunch of coaches. They might practice differently. This, that. So now he's got to get another whole regimen down for different guys, different coaches, and all that. Then one after that happens after 2 seasons, he's gone. Now you got Judge coming in. And you got to get something, So it's difficult. I said, a lot of it's with, the coaches, some coaches just don't know, some are better than others. Some are more knowledgeable, obviously, with how to, it's just not so much the coaches knowing and not knowing. The coaches also need to collaborate with like maybe the trainers or the nutritionists or this or that, or the players and all that, So some of it's on the coaches. Some of it's on the teams. I'm kind of, taking the some of what he was saying. It's not everything what he said. If I was talking about everything he was saying, we'd be here for another half an hour, right? But I'm just trying to, tinker it down a little bit, shall we say? But some of it's on the teams. Now, one of the things he said interesting was, some it's like with free agents. Right, which is huge. Free agents. A lot of it's, of course, all. How come you chose to come to the Giants? Well, it just seemed like this was the right place for my family, or maybe because they were offering you $57 million. No, not really. That's a small part, but it just feels right. Obviously the money's. I'm sorry, my bad. I've got a decent amount to do it, but also. What Patel was talking about is like, with guys, free agents and stuff is, they know each other. A lot of guys, they know a lot of guys in the off season, they hang out with one another, they work out with one another. The wide receivers work, it's starting to become a lot more of a big community, right? Guys know, the way it is nowadays, guys are FaceTiming, they're on the phone, they're texting, they're tweeting, they're chatting, they're all kinds of stuff. Within a second like that, you can be in contact with anybody. You can have a group chat just like that with 2 or 3 other guys, just like, So guys are always talking and stuff like that. So some of it, right, is that it's like, say the Giants call player X up. Right, whatever, it might be a wide receiver or something like that, and the Giants talk to player X's agent, and they throw a number at him, and the agent calls up player X. Hey, the Giants are interested. You said 4 years, $21 million a year, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. So one thing is the money. Okay, obviously that's huge, but some of it also is so player X. Boom, FaceTime's player Q. Player Q's on the Giants. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, what's going on, bro? How's it going? Good to see you. Hey, they just called me, wanted me to come in there. So how is it there? What's going on? If I go there, they're going to treat my family right. Are they going to treat me right? Is it trash there? What do we got? What's going on? And a lot of it, it's got to do with, how the training facilities, how they treat the family, anything, how the living facility, is it easy to get, is it cheap to live out, affordable to live out there? There's all kinds of things. But if you guys start getting bad publicity, shall we say, from players, dude, man, I tell you what, man, I had some injuries, man, and these guys don't know what they're doing here. I mean, we've had I don't know how many injuries we've had. They have the work, the stuff that the equipment they have is trash. The trainers here, I don't think they know what they're doing. I think they just got them from Walmart. I mean, I mean, stuff like that. If you got some good training facilities, if you got some good food to eat there, and they take care of you, they take care of your family, and this, that, and the other thing, that's going to help bring people in, which is going to also lead to my next point. Okay, just a second. But as far as the training facilities, right? Maybe supplementation, whatever the guys can take, food to eat, all this stuff, is all it's like a package deal. Obviously, the money's one thing, but sometimes guys want to know, hey, am I going to feel the love there? I mean, is this just am I just going there and it's just a trash organization? Right? What's going on there? And, if he's talking to a few other guys. No, man, it's this, hey, we had a cut way last season. Hey, right. We were 7-10. We had a bunch of injury. I'm going to tell you what, these guys, they take it. They had the best and, they had the winning mind. They have the best, nothing but the best for players. Mr. Mara, I'll tell you what, he takes care of your family. You got a problem, you give him a call, he'll take care of your problem. Whatever, anything. You got an injury, you're getting the best. They're taking you to the hospital. It's on them. They take, but whatever. I mean, you get some good. You get some good. Right, some good comments from guys who or either that, or you can talk to Leonard Williams. They can. Somebody might talk to Leonard. Hey, Leonard, the Giants just called me. Well, how is it? How was it with the Giants? Oh, man, I tell you what, I loved it there. They traded me out here to Seattle, but I'll tell you what, I couldn't have been happier there. I mean, I loved it there. Mr. Mara took care of me. I felt like family right there. The training facilities are A1, absolutely phenomenal. I tell you what, 2 thumbs up to it. I mean, that's huge. It's what this guy was talking about. He said, if you start getting some bad word of mouth from other players about the training facilities or the trainers or the nutritionists, stuff like that, that could be a no-go. You try to bring people in there, right? So that's huge as far as the team, right? One of the other things is that he was talking about, which also leads you up to the Giants maybe not getting people here, is the I'm going to say right here, turf, right? Not so much the turf, all right, but is maybe a league kind of thing, right? Where I'm just going to spew my kind of thing out here. This guy Patel was talking about. He said that sometimes the Giants might practice on outside on grass, but if the weather's a little rainy or something, whatever, or they're going to be playing a game on turf or something like that or whatever, and it's raining or something, they might go indoors where it's on turf. So the Giants are out on grass one day, then they're on turf, and then they come back out and play on grass, and then they play on turf and stuff like that. But they'll say, sometimes it takes a little bit of guys maybe getting used to, as far as with their joints and knees and stuff like that. Or one day it's on grass, a couple games on grass, then a day maybe on turf, then they play a game on turf, then they come back and play on grass, and they play on turf. And one of it obviously is just the word of mouth as far as just the turf period. And MetLife Stadium's, the word of mouth on the MetLife Stadium turf is right. Now whether it's warranted or not, it's going to be hard getting guys here based on the turf. Now, once 2026 rolls around and the World Cup comes around and the Giants have to put grass in there for the World Cup during the summertime, they're going to keep the grass in there and try to rock and roll with it through the 2026 season and maybe and beyond, right? Or they're going to play World Cup on there. They're going to lay the grass down there, and after the World Cup's up, they're going to pull everything up and put the turf or whatever. Is that going to happen? We'll have to wait and see. But, that's got a lot to do with it. one of the playing. Am I going to run a couple pass patterns and blow both my knees out and my career's over? What's going on? I mean, that's huge. Well, I'm saying the one thing is maybe the league's fault. Maybe, right? The NFL is a multi-quadrillion, and that's quadrillion. I mean, we're talking dollar narrow. There's money. People are crapping out money, right? Money in everywhere, right? There's money. Money, okay? One more time for the hearing impaired. There's money. Lots of money, okay? As far as it being like an NFL problem, as far as what Patel was talking about, we said one of the things that, it might be a little tricky or tough on guys is, I said, maybe practicing on turf, then you're on grass, then you play a game on grass, you come back and you play on turf. He said that sometimes that can cause some problems for the knees and ankles or whatever. Could cause some problems. Guys a little bit on the turf, and then they got to get used to playing on the grass, and then they go, it's different. However however the turf, they got the pellets kicking up, and almost looks like they're, however you want it. It's grass is grass, right? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. As far as it might, being a league problem is that there's no more turf. There's no turf. It's all gone. Everything is on grass. If you got, we can put somebody on the moon. We can take whatever and put something on frickin' Jupiter, right? Or Mars, right? We can shoot something on the Mars, land on Mars, get pictures of whatever, and send videos and back to the U.S. or to Earth from Mars. Okay, we can get grass everywhere. Okay, there's no more turf. Everything is on grass, right? I mean, there's really, if you go back to like the 60s and stuff like that, they trained, and they trained hard. And there was tackling, and there's none of this. We can only practice for 14 seconds a day because we'll wear ourselves out. There was none of that crap back then in the 60s and the 70s. They practiced, they tackled, long, grueling tackling practices, sweat, right? Guys would train, right? It was all grass. Everything was grass. I mean, of course, unfortunately, the Oilers came in, and then the Cardinals, they were on turf. So turf started creeping its way in. But if you go back to like the 60s and all that stuff, when it was long practices, right? Guys didn't run a pass pattern 5 yards down the field, blow both their ACLs out and stuff. It's like, what happened? That didn't happen. Didn't happen. None of that crap. Right? There was none of this getting used to different stuff. Everything was grass. They practiced outside on what? Grass. They played the games on what? What was it? What? Huh? Grass. Everything is grass. If they go indoors, if there's a dome, whatever, it's on grass. If I mean, we have stadiums where there's grass indoors, right? If you have a training facility, if you're going to have a dome, whatever, guess what? You got grass in there. If you don't, tell you what, if you want to have turf, no problem. You never, ever have a first-round pick ever again. So the choice is yours. Choice is yours. Everything is grass. That's the way football's supposed to be. Football is supposed to be grass. You go down, you get tackled, you come up, you got some grass, maybe a little dirt on you and stuff like that and all. It's grass. None of this artificial turf bull crap. Grass. If you practice indoors, there's grass. If you practice outdoors, guess what? What? Grass. Your stadium. What is it? What? Grass. If you got a dome stadium, what is it? Grass. Everything is grass. If you want to have artificial turf, that's on you. You never have another first-round pick ever again. Okay? Everything is on grass. There is none of this turf and grass. And everything is on grass. Right? Jumping back. So, I mean, that's something, obviously, that's never going to happen. But I mean, just listen to what Patel was kind of saying is that, you go jump back and forth, that has some, could possibly cause some issues with some of the players, with some of their joints and everything. A couple days on turf, a couple days on grass, back to, jumping back and forth. Right. There's other issues. There's a bunch of other he was going over and all and everything, but it's just a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, the Giants, it's you can't say like Ronnie Barnes is the problem. We've had injuries so many years. It's got to be Ronnie. Ronnie Barnes has been here so long. Ronnie Barnes is in charge of treating the issues. That would be like the Giants scoring 7 points on offense, and that would be like going and yelling at Wink Martindale. Well, we only scored 7 points, Wink. What's going on? You suck. So it's not Ronnie Barnes' fault. It's a lot of have to get on the same page. A lot of it's you got to get the players, but it also helps if you have a coaching staff that's there for a long time. It helps if you have the right trainers and this, that. You have the training facilities. He kept saying a lot of times the right supplementation is huge. You got to stay up on the players. The players have to take care of themselves. As I said, same thing. I said like with turf and grass. Right. A lot of it also is, sometimes it's it could be the league's fault. Right. Howard Cross is a big proponent too. If you're gonna have a boxing match, right? If you're gonna be a boxer, you're gonna have a boxing match. What do? Leading up to it, you spar, right? You don't go and I'm gonna have a heavyweight fight. It's gonna last 15 rounds. I'm gonna spar 1 round a day for 2 months, and that'll get me ready. 1 3-round sparring match, and boom, I'm out of there. Right? That's what it's going on right now. You can only practice for 14 seconds a day because it's in the the CFA or whatever it is, right? I mean, the players union only wants 4 seconds a day of practice. Any more than that, the guys are going to start wearing out and stuff like that. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem. You got the guys basically doing like no contact or nothing, and then all of a sudden, just like that, you got to play them, have them playing a football game. No contact, nothing. They practice 4 seconds a day, and all of a sudden, all right, start the season. Oh, we got injuries. Well, no shit. No kidding. Really, you got injuries. That's because you haven't done anything to prepare for the injuries, right? There's no contact or anything like that. And all of a sudden, you start playing a season. There's 3 preseason games. The starters get in there for half a snap, right? And then their preseason's over with, and then you have them start a season. So a lot of it's on maybe the CFA or whatever that's called, the players union, with the league and all that stuff, because the guys are not being prepared for a season. And then also you got now the season is being extended. Well, we're going to have 20 years from now, whatever, 800 game season, because of course it's all about the Benjamins, Everything's about the money. That's all it's about. Right. So now we're extending the season, making the season even longer, which is, because once again, it's all about the Benjamins. Right. Don't worry about the health of the players. As long as we're making money, it's all good. We're good. My pockets, my wallet's fat. I don't care about the players staying healthy or not. So it's a league thing too. So as far as with the Giants, it's a huge thing. It's really, really huge. One thing which would be, I think, quite advantageous would be if the Giants actually had the same GM in there, the same coach in there for a long period of time, and they can start developing things and start focusing in on certain problems and stuff like that. Because if you keep getting different coaching staffs in there every other year and stuff like that, different coaches staff, different philosophies, training, all that stuff and everything, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. That's really, really difficult. So that guy Patel had a lot of interesting stuff to say, but it would be very advantageous, I think, to the Giants if they keep actually get a winner in there and keep the same coaches in there and everything like that for periods of time. But as far as with the Giants and their injuries, it's a lot. It's on the coaches. It's some of it's on the Giants, the organization. Some of it's on the players, and some of it's on the animal. It's just not one thing. It's just not one thing. So, all right, guys, it's been almost 1 hour and 20 minutes. I think it's a brand new record. Almost 1 hour and 20 minutes. Holy crap. Well, guys, whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody spends any time watching replays, once again, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there. Go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.